Hi, it's Sharon from Vivid Days. This is the continuation of the royal theme, and on this one we are creating with a heart mold something that is going to be attached to a picture frame, so you've got some purposeful art that you can have on your desk or on your wall, and just to give you some ideas. You can also put some cute little messages in there, and they're just a really great gift, and so I hope you enjoy this colour scheme. If you haven't seen my other things I've created in this royal theme, pop back and have a little look. There's a sculpture, there's a keychain, and there might be some more things coming. But hashtag Sharon only inspired me. If you enjoy this and you're inspired to create this or something similar, or even if I've invoked something in you. But also remember, join my Facebook group. I'm having to think there, aren't I? If you wanted to share any of your work, but thumbs up, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome. I don't think I said that. But hope you're safe, hope you're well, hope you're enjoying seeing me create in resin, but also remember to pop over and see some of my back catalogue on some of my acrylic work that I'm going to be showing with you. Anyway, see you in the next video. Bye bye. Hold on to your seats, it's going to be a bumpy ride. All the products that I'm using throughout all of the layers is now being shown on the screen. Beautiful combination to work with. I think I just didn't have it on this one. I couldn't get out of my mind's eye what I wanted in this piece. However, the big lesson for myself and hopefully for everybody else is go with the flow, have an idea of what it is that you want to create, but see every obstacle as a learning journey, as a challenge, as a way to build your knowledge or a way to think, you know, for future projects. I've now learned something very valuable. I've done a few of the pieces that we're working through today where my heart is attached to a picture frame on glass, and so far they have all worked fine for me. I think with this one it's because normally I take my inspiration from my heart, not my heart, my art, from the mould, and that invokes what I want the backdrop to be about. In this case I tried to do them side by side and it just didn't work for me. I just wasn't feeling it. There was too much distractions on the back. It looked like they didn't really belong together other than the colour schemes, but I worked through it until I was happy. What I should have done is worked with the pattern that is in my mould. But what I have discovered is when you remove the masking tape, which is at the back of this to prevent your resin nipples, boy does it look lovely to see this on the glass and it being transparent, and those iridescent chameleon pigments just really beautiful. In my mould, I try not to go more than halfway up, and I more or less just slap it in, if I'm being really honest, on the first go. I know I wanted there to be a bit of black coming through there and some of the other colours. I'm letting it work its magic, and then I'll come in with a heat gun. By doing it only halfway, it means I can add potentially 2 more layers if I want to help add with that depth. With this one, I only came in with a second layer, and then I did just dome it with clear on top. But there's no rhyme or reason currently, slapping it in, just trying to make sure the gold's not going to overtake, but there is a representation of both the colours. With the picture frame, the glass, it's been taped off. Please make sure it's level. And I am just going to drag it to the edges. I've tried not to put too much on there because I don't want it to force off the edge, but I'm just teasing it now to the edge. And another thing to take into consideration is when you're doing the heat gun part, you don't want to apply too much heat there, otherwise you're going to shatter your glass. Now I'm just blowing it left and right. I'm trying to get some of the natural effects to occur, but I'm trying to make sure that I keep pushing my black across so that I get a proportion of the dark colour that I wanted. And when I look back on this, I didn't need to torch it. Now the effects look just stunning, and it would have kept working because there's different densities with the pigments, because I've got some that's powders, I've got some that's the chameleon, I've got some that is just a resin dye. On the right, you're thinking, Sharon, you are going rogue, my lovely. What are you doing just applying your resin dye directly onto your picture frame? Well, here's what was going through my mind. all my all my black pigment had fallen off or integrated into the other colours. So I was trying to help it, didn't work, represent the black that's in the heart at that side. So when I place my heart over the top of it, it's going to look like it's connected. Now, although it didn't end up being how I wanted it to be, I loved the effects that you get from this. And I actually love this piece when I start to reveal the back at the end. It kind of looks like it belongs in like a Halloween theme or very theatrical. I'll let you decide if you like it, but I'm thinking that maybe I could do this on some of the picture frames. Maybe not this necessarily pattern, but then you could have a painted image behind it or a photo behind it. And my mind's just blowing in so many different projects that you could work. However, the resin did cure. It cured beautifully. Adding the resin dye didn't cause it to stay soft. So I'd not overcommitted, but this resin now had been curing for, it's kind of like when I'm doing my sculpture where it's soft to touch. So if I really pressed on it, I could have got my fingers in there or pulled it off, but still tacky enough for it to adhere to the picture frame. So I've removed all the parts and I'm delicately now putting my picture frame onto it, try not to touch it with my fingers. And then I'm slowly adding pressure to make sure that I get it in there and there it's a seal and there it's going to cure, and it's going to cure with no gaps, because I knew I was going to be adding another layer to this, because for this project, although that picture frame, look at those chameleon colours coming through, that purple and blue, it just looks quite dramatic and I really like it. Is that really sad of me? Anyway, so I leave this for another 24 hours the next day to make sure it's adhered in there and it's all firm and I'm happy with it. I'm assessing now my heart, and this is where I'm thinking, yeah, it just doesn't work together. It's just too busy. They look like they are part of the same family, but they don't look like they belong together, and it's distracting. So for the second layer, for me, it's important that I protect a lot of the underneath to help with that depth. So I add my clear, and it's just got that glitter in there. And then I'll come and add the same colours, but this time I'm going to be a little bit more restrained, and I'm going to pull it more towards the side and stay in the bottom half, so it's sort of a U shape. Why? Just because that's my preference. You can do whatever you want to do, but just think about what are the parts you want to protect. When you are going to apply more colour, do you want to add just a little bit? Because this is where you can see that I've pushed it to the top of my mould. The only thing I could really do is dome it. Or you could go a lot thinner if you wanted to apply a third layer with colours in there. So I'm just doing the little dance, trying to be very restrained. I still come back and end up slapping some on my picture frame that I wasn't happy with. And originally I wasn't going to touch the glass, but I had a little bit of resin left over and I didn't want to waste it. So I popped it on there, but it was mainly gold and there wasn't enough to cover the picture frame. So you see me come in with a silicone brush and trying to paint it on, so at least it gives a thin layer, but I just didn't like it. I took it down a rabbit hole even further that I didn't like. And so I come in and add some clear. You just see me add clear to it and you see it create this beautiful little circle as it fills out. I was hoping to remove some of that gold that I just added and get to see some of that underneath. It just didn't quite work out the way I wanted to, but there wasn't too much resin really wasted on the project because I had to go on this journey, but normally I don't need as much resin as I do here. You'll see me slowly tip up the mould a little bit just to try and force some of those pigments to spread organically and naturally. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Rogue Sharon trying to apply something that just did not work. Here I am. I've got my little silicone brush trying desperately to get that resin to go to the centre so it's an even coverage. I really just wanted it to be flat so that when I came and added my resin heart mould, when it had cured out and on top of this. But yeah, I came in and did some swirls and I actually quite like these swirls. There was enough blue in the corners for me to drag it through and create some effects. The only problem is it just didn't hold it. And if it had stayed like that, I would have loved. I still don't think it would have worked though with the heart. Anyway, what I was saying before I went on critiquing my dodgy picture frame skill there was I lift my heart up to help the pigments go into the clear. Yeah, I'm just telling you I don't like it there. So they understand what I'm working with. So I am now, do you know what? I think I've lost her, haven't I, with all that? Anyway, a little bit of clear on the picture frame, and then I take my heart out, not my heart, the silicone mould heart, and rub it around, and that should act like a little suction to hopefully stop the heart moving around. Didn't work like that though, did it? It kept moving around, and I think that's why it ended up destroying. When I say destroying, that was pretty harsh. That's why the image that I do next didn't stay, because it was slowly moving. Now, if you've got the gift of time, you could just add a little bit of resin underneath, very thin, just in the heart area. Let that cure, and then you know it's not going to move, and then you can come and add your clear. So I added clear to the top of the heart to help with the doming. And also I'm now trying to tone down the back, because on my other projects I've usually only kept one colour behind and then let the heart pop and be the hero. Should have stuck with that theme, shouldn't I? Anyway, I'm thinking I wanted to work with these, just the blues, a little bit of black and a little bit of gold, and try. So the reason I'm putting the blue to the right is because that's where the most of the blue is on the heart, a little bit of the darker blue to the left, the little bit of black, and then the gold. So I'm trying to pick up pattern from the heart. Didn't really work. Yeah, so about this point is where there's still movement in the resin. You'll see me come with my little stick where my heart's gone on a little journey towards the right there. And there's some nice effects. You can't see it in here coming from where the clear was around the edge. When I first started doing my swirls, really enjoyed them. But I should have waited until it was almost going off and being cured, and that my heart had stopped travelling around the picture frame itself, because every time it moved and I pushed it, I had to wait until all the other resin self-levelled. But in pushing it, it was causing the resin pattern to lose its shape, basically. Right about there I really like it, but here I am with my stick trying to work out, and I'm going to start pushing it soon. Oh, not quite. There we go. She's pushing it down, and then I push it to the left, and you can see the pattern is slowly disappearing. I end up coming with my heat gun, and I overcommit with the gold, and it just sort of disappears into the colours. So what I wanted to do was define my heart from the base. So I came in with my gold pen, and at this stage I'm going, eek! This is either going to work or not, but I started working on intuition. You may not want to do this, it's totally okay. I just wanted to commit to this and go on this journey, and I started with just a little bit, and I enjoyed it. I then connected it to the bottom, but I still felt like it needed to be highlighted, so I come around once I've done the sides, and I put my thicker side of the pen at flat, and then just join it to the bottom. And I actually really liked it. For days I had just the right side done and seeing, do I like it, do I not? And although I liked the heart and I enjoyed the gold because it looked very royal for my royal connection, there's still a little bit of a disconnect. And in the corner where I'm showing you now, I did a little bit of design on the resin with my gold pen, and it didn't work, but I didn't have my alcohol wipes near me. And I thought, oh my word, I've just ruined it. So then I thought, well, how can I bring it back? So I got my acrylic pens, and I went over it in the corner that you saw originally and on the picture frame itself. And I thought, that actually works quite well. So I sort of rub it on and then rub it off, and it adds to a misty feel. And I kept looking at it at each stage, which is what I encourage you to do, because I wanted it to look like it was connected. I enjoyed the darkness on the edges, so it brought your eyes into the heart. But at the same time, I didn't want to not see all that beautiful colouring from the resin, and stood my picture frame up while I just worked on the balance. And I enjoy the balance I've got. You may not. You could have stopped at any time. The only problem with going in with the acrylic pen, it's going to be matte compared to the resin underneath, which is gloss. But knowing that I was going to come over with a top coat with that little bit of glitter in would bring it all together so it looks connected. Now here's another dodgy thing I did. I wanted to have a defined edge or gold to help with that regal look or the royal collection, and I overcommitted with the size of it, so I just came back with a paintbrush and made it a little bit narrower because I knew I wanted something that I just didn't want it so big. And I came in with some of my inspirational quotes for me, so I picked ones because this is going to be on my my shelf here, and I picked out some words that meant something to me, and I went around and highlighted it with my gold pen just to connect it all. Again, you might not want to add the words, you might not want to add the gold pen, that's up to you, but I've been doing art journaling, I've been really enjoying some of those positive words, and every time I look at that, it's a positive message to myself. And coming in with a top coat was the final stage, just a little bit on top, then I put it in my little tub, all class I am. I've got no space, so I have to work creatively. Here we are with this. I'm really happy with the end result, but boy, it took me on a journey. Let me see if I can get the glitter to ignite. It's the final one in my Roy collection, and it took me on a journey because everything I did didn't work. So I had to keep following it until I got somewhere where I was really happy with it. And even right at the last stage, when it was curing and I took it out, I scuffed it with my little finger. Just there, that little scratch. But it's for me. It's a prototype. And I look, positive messages. Be in love with your life. Do what you love what you do, choose to shine. Any one of these stages you could stop at. But for me, this is going to stand on my shelf proudly because it's going to remind me, don't give up. Don't overwork it. If you're going to do this again, there's lots of learns along the way. And I quite like the rustic look of the gold around there. Again, I didn't intend it to be that way. And it's very much like an art journal feel where it's quite rustic. But look at that glitter. Look at the depth. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here. Ooh, can I twist it? There's so much depth in there with the layers. And those iridescent, or should I say chameleon pigments. And I really do enjoy the gold, how I framed the heart. Again, that wasn't my intention to start with, but it took me on, I went on a journey with it. And yeah, from troubles. What did go right, Sharon? Well, the end result, sticking with it and showing you. The colour scheme is still part of my Royal collection. It's the final one. There's a little air hole there. See that? And yeah, and I really enjoyed bringing in the darkness with that acrylic pen and my finger rubbing it in. It looked more balanced then. To me, it was definitely more balanced. Seeing if you can get, let me zoom in a little bit. And it made it look sort of, to me, dark, but at the same time positive. Space, light, royal, rustic. Anyway, I am not able to get you depth, so I would not have put as much resin on this, and I wouldn't have had to go to the edge of my picture frame if I'd have not messed up with my gold pen, where I tried doing some embellishing here and I didn't like it, and it wouldn't come off. Hence why I had to then be creative around the edge here. And then I also wanted it to have balance and harmony between the back on the glass to the heart, and I just wasn't feeling it or loving it. And yeah, and then I wanted it, because it's a bigger frame than I would have. I've previously put my silver, let's see if I stand that side. I've previously put my, oh look at that blue then standing out there. I previously used my silver positive words, but I don't have those here. But I do have what was in my book, and I still really enjoy those words. But thumbs up, subscribe, share, comments are always welcome. Come back and see me. Join my Facebook group if you're inspired and you want to share what you've created, and let me know the thoughts. I really did love seeing the resin on the glass for it being transparent. I'm going to work on some projects with that. and watch this space. But thank you for hanging out with me. I'll see you on the next video. Now let me show you a little bit of my royal collection together. Here we are with our colour scheme of the royal collection. We had fridge magnets or key rings, our sculpture, and our positive affirmation. Love this colour scheme. I'm going to mix it up and work on another one, and I do have a video coming up when it comes to my candle holder, and I would recommend you using LED lights in there, and always be in attendance of your candle, hashtag. Love, love, love this colour scheme. Absolutely stunning to work with. Anyway, see you on the next video. Bye bye.